All right, we're going to Oregon first, and then we'll go to Pennsylvania after that. But we're going to Oregon, and it's Nunzio on the line. Hi, Nunzio. What do you got for us?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for taking my call. I just have a comment about Gospel Zero, just an awesome book.
Hmm,
But I
thank you.
thought about a simile today. It was like eating an artichoke. You ever eaten an artichoke? There's just at the very end, there's just a little bit
Yep.
of the center of the fruit. And then you eat through all those, which, reminds me of being in church and getting a little bit of the truth here and there. But then when you get to the heart of the artichoke, it's just delicious. And that's
Oh,
the true grace of the gospel
I love it.
zero. Just
I love
blew
it.
my mind.
Yeah.
Uncovered all of these little fallacies that we've all been taught, but yet the gospel zero uncovers all that and puts it in a not simplistic, but just very entertaining, very edgy kind of way, and it's just really awesome. Today
Thank you.
I researched John Lynch. You're welcome. I researched this short snippet on John Lynch Speaks. What a brilliant man! I'll tell you, you guys really hit it out of the park.
Oh, well, thank you.
With
Well,
this
we're
book.
best friends. We're best friends too. We love hanging out together. So writing the book
Yeah,
was so much fun. And I know you got a question, an interesting question,
yeah,
because it's Easter coming up, and you got a question about
right.
Jesus.
Yeah, after he was risen from the dead,
Yeah.
he walked among the apostles, and I'm just curious as how they were able to recognize him. Was he in a glorified body? He probably had a covering over his head. They might have recognized his voice, but I was curious as to why they didn't recognize him.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's one I've pondered quite often. I mean, first of all, they didn't run away from him. So he had two arms, two legs, two eyes, a mouth, and a nose, a couple of ears. So he didn't look like an alien with a resurrection body. He looked resurrection human. And that's comforting, right, to all of us, because he's the prototype. He showed us what the design is for that resurrection body that each of us will receive. And so they didn't run away from him scared out of their wits. What did they think? Well, one woman thought he was the gardener, the local gardener that would be tending to the plants and flowers in that region. So, first we start with a simple yes. Jesus had a resurrection body when he was raised up, and he appeared to so many in the upper room and to others as he hung out for quite a while there, teaching, preaching, proclaiming the message of the gospel, risen from the dead. And people were not scared of him, they were drawn to him. But there was something different about him, and there'll be something different about you. You're not going to look exactly the same. I do believe people will recognize each other in heaven, but we will be the resurrection version of ourselves physically. And what's so cool about that, Nunzio, is that we are already resurrection people on the inside. And that's one of our main messages here at the Grace Message. We're reminding people that resurrection life begins now. We have been infused with the resurrection life of Christ. You have a resurrection heart. You have a new spirit. You have God's Spirit living in you. Jesus has risen from the dead, and he resides in you. And you'll get a resurrection body one day to match. Now, as far as Jesus, I mean, you go back 2,000 years ago, and you look at Luke 24. He was physical and he could be touched. You see that in Luke 24. And yet it was a glorified, transformed resurrection body. It wasn't subject to the same limitations. How do we know that? Well, he could walk through walls. He could float up into the air as he said goodbye to everybody. You have some sort of transformation that makes him seem different. It doesn't make people scared, but it just makes people notice that he's different. So what can we expect? The very same thing. You're not going to be scared of me. I'm not going to be scared of you, but we're going to know that we're in a resurrection state with a new body. So I think that accounts for the initial lack of recognition. You look in 1 Corinthians, that famous passage, chapter 15, right around verses 42 to 44, and what do you see? You see that there's a current body and a future body, a physical body and a spiritual body. And Paul likens it to the difference between things on earth and things up in the sky, like the stars. There's celestial bodies. So everything has a different size and shape and purpose. Well, when we get our resurrection bodies, yes, we'll be resurrection human, but those bodies will be unique and different. And then, I guess you could say there's some spiritual insight involved. Ultimately, they did recognize him, but not everybody did. I mean, you look at Luke 24, it says that the eyes of the disciples on the road to Emmaus, that they were kept from recognizing him. Later, their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and they broke bread with him in verse 30 of Luke 24. So maybe God was involved there, and just at the right time, people were able to recognize, oh my goodness, this is Jesus, risen from the dead. Or maybe you can chalk it up to spiritual discernment, right? But I think ultimately then we have to just recognize that the body was different. It's the prototype for our resurrection bodies. And here with Resurrection Sunday coming up, that is something to celebrate. It is something to look forward to. But every day, regardless of what season or holiday is around the corner, do you hear me? Oh my goodness, what a privilege and an honor it is for us to have the resurrection life of Jesus Christ inside of us, right here, right now. He is risen, and He's the reason we bear fruit. Do you hear that? Who needs Moses when you got Jesus? Who needs the law when you've got the Spirit of Christ residing in you? Who needs a self-improvement program? Who needs rule-based religion when you've got the righteousness of Christ inside of you? He is risen from the dead, and He's given us new life. So that is something to celebrate every single day. Thanks, Nunzio, for your encouragement regarding Gospel Zero, the new book, and for your great question, which came just at the right time here as we celebrate Jesus' resurrection.